sometimes like they would just downright like not say hi to me coming into my class. And I'm just like, how is this a thing? Like, I'm literally helping you get through your workout. I'm making sure that you're having a safe workout. I'm explaining to you what what's going down in the class, trying to make sure that you're good, and you're straight up disrespecting me. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Just Be Real podcast. Happy Tuesday. If you guys are listening to this on a Tuesday, I hope that you guys are having an amazing week. And I really hope that you guys aren't hearing anything in the background, because I swear to you, like, every time I go to record a podcast episode, some noise is just like happening, some noise in the background. So we do have like, background remover effects and all that. So hopefully you guys don't hear it, but it sounds like construction. Not really sure. But regardless, we're going to make this episode pretty short today. So I hope you guys are having, again, a beautiful day, beautiful week. We are heading into the month of October. Can't believe that I'm actually saying that, because I feel like September just started, and I feel like we were just talking about like setting ourselves up for a new month. And yeah, like, I don't know where time is going, honey, but time is going. Time is going. So we're going to make the best use of our time. So today I want to talk about something that I feel like the girlies have been asking me about. And I feel like I've promised to talk about this particular subject or topic for a while now. And I've kind of like hinted. I've had, other fitness instructors on my podcast, and I've kind of talked with them about it as well. But I've never really given like my full experience regarding this topic. So I'm really excited to dive in today. So today we're going to be talking about being a fitness instructor as a Black woman specifically. If you guys don't know, or maybe you do know, I've talked about on the podcast before, kind of like how I started my journey being this dance fitness instructor, how I've gotten into the fitness industry, kind of like where I started versus like where I am right now, like running my business, Real Rhythm Dance and Fitness, and how I kind of decided like that's the road that I want to take, and that's the road that I want to stay on at this particular moment in my life. So, little backstory, I grew up with primarily a fitness background. So, my mom would work out like in our basement. She had like her own little like workout club with her friends. So, they used to do like these tapes called The Firm. And the firm was like full of dancers. Like, that's the crazy part about it. So, like, a lot of these women who were like instructing these classes on these tapes, VHS, if you guys don't know what that is, like, way too young if you don't know what a VHS is. But basically, my mom had this whole collection of VHS tapes, okay? And these were all like workout tapes. So she used to do this all the time, like in the basement, like morning, sometimes night. And I would go down and like I would watch her, and I was just so like intrigued, I guess, and like fascinated by like the workouts and the music and the rhythm, and just like how clean everybody's form was and everyone was together, and like I just loved it. So my mom got me like 1 or 2 pound weights when I was like, I want to say like 4 years old, like around that age. And I started like doing weights with her and like working out and kind of like mocking what she would do. So long story short, like that was kind of like my start to the fitness world, right? And then as I got older, like I would do these tapes on my own, and I would work out in the basement on my own. And I just was able to motivate myself from that moment, because it was ingrained in me. I saw people working out. I saw the effects that it had. Like my mom, was happy when she worked out. And also there was like the social aspect, like she would have her friends over and they would work out together and drink coffee after and stuff like that. So it was fun. Long story short, obviously, like I love to dance. Like dance is just something that I feel like is just in my blood. Like my dad is of Caribbean background, so we were always listening to like soca music, reggae, like that type of thing in the house. So I was just always like dancing. Like they would have friends over, and I would like dance for the friends and stuff, and put on concerts like with my two friends like in our basement. So that's really like where I started like getting into dance. I wasn't in dance school school as a child. I didn't really start like taking structured dance until like school, like being in elementary, middle school, high school. High school, I was a little bit more involved. So I was choreographing musicals in high school. At that point, like I already made up my mind, like I want to be an entertainer, like I want to dance, I want to do musical theater, I want to sing. So fast forward a couple years, I ended up deciding that I was going to go to college for 2 years. At first, like, yeah, I was going to go to school and get, my bachelor's degree and do that whole thing. But to be honest with you, like, I am not a big schoolgirl. Like, I'm not a big advocate for school. And this is not to say, like, that no one should go to school, that school is not useful. For me in particular, I didn't see the value in me staying in college for another like 2 to 4 years. Like that just didn't make sense. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to pick a field or career where I feel like I can get a job right out of school. So I went to school for hospitality with a focus in event planning and business management. So there I was able to really like learn about business. I was able to also learn the ins and outs of the hospitality industry. So like restaurant, hotel, event planning, banquets, all that good stuff. So straight out of school, I was able to like start working at a restaurant. I did banquets. I worked at this like event hall for a very short period of time because I hated how they like treated their employees. But while I was doing all that, like I was missing dance. Like during that time, I wasn't dancing. Like, yeah, I was still like kind of working out. I think I was going to the gym and, I just had like a gym membership at like Blink. So I wasn't really like doing much of what I felt passionate about at that time. Like I was just out here like any 20-something-year-old trying to build a career, trying to build a solid ground for yourself, and also like having the influence of your parents or people around you like, hey, you need to get, a decent job. Like you need to get a 9 to 5. You need to have a stable job. You need to have a stable career. So I was listening to all of that at that time. So I was really just focused on like, okay, I'm going to try to nail this job as like a banquet events manager because I feel like that's steady income. You're hanging around, like parties and stuff like that. Like I love to do that stuff. And hence like why I have real hot retreats now. Like I love planning and I love putting things together. So I was doing that for a little bit. And then I got into Zumba. So at the time, I think my sister was going to this gym like near where we lived, and their Zumba classes were freaking popping. When I tell you, like, you couldn't even get in the class. Like, I think you had to sign up early, and then there was like a line. You had to like wait in the line. You know how Zumba people be crazy, okay? People used to fight in my class over spots. Like, there were definitely times where like I was like, okay, ladies, like we're grown. We don't need to be doing this. But long story short, got into Zumba. I was taking classes, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is definitely something that I could do. So I went, I got certified, or not certified, licensed. They like to call it licensed, not certified. So at the time I went, I got my Zumba license. I started teaching right away. Okay. I want to say like within maybe a month. So I went, did my certification. I was serious about like putting these routines together. And the good thing about like when you're doing certifications or trainings, like you're set up to have the tools that you need to start. So like I already had choreography that was given to me. Obviously with Zumba, you can make your own choreography. I wasn't there just yet, but I was doing the routines that were given to me. So I was just like, okay, cool. Like let's get this up and running, okay? And little entrepreneur mindset me, okay, the one who like always knew that she wanted to run her own business, I automatically like I wasn't even thinking about like, oh, let me go teach at a gym. I was thinking like, oh, let me find a studio that I can rent so that I could just have all my people come, like all my friends, my family, maybe some people that I meet. Like I wasn't thinking about the ins and outs of like running your own business, I guess, and what comes with renting a space or renting a studio and having to do like all the marketing yourself. So I had found like this super cute Brazilian capoeira studio and I started renting from them. They were super nice. And at that time I had zero following. Nobody was following me, okay? At this point, I never taught at a gym. I never taught a class, okay? I never taught a Zumba class. So in my mind, I'm just like, okay, cool. I got the playlist. I got my friends. I think I put my classes on Groupon at some point. I don't know if that was like as soon as I started, but like I made a flyer, I was passing it out to people. And I think my first class, maybe like 8 people came, maybe 10. I don't really remember, but it was a decent class. Mostly my friends, to be honest with you. So, okay, I'm like, okay, cool, we're gonna do this. I think maybe Tuesdays. Tuesdays have always been my shit. Okay. So it might have been every single Tuesday. So Tuesday I kept showing up week by week, classes started getting smaller. At some points, nobody would show up. One week, maybe one person, another week, maybe two people, then no people. So it just got to the point where I was just like, why am I doing this? Like this this doesn't make sense. I have to pay the studio. I wasn't making money. I wasn't getting like any foot traffic. Like people weren't just like passing by. Like it wasn't really an area where people were just like walking up and down the street. So I'm like, okay, I need to think about this a little smarter. So I went, I got a job at this gym. It was an all women's gym. At the time, the fitness manager, rest in peace, Velma, she was such a sweet woman. And I feel like she honestly like gave me the opportunity and the shot that I really needed to kick off like my career. So yeah, she gave me a shot and I taught my first class. And from there, it was just like, I don't know, I just took off. So I started applying to different gyms. I worked for probably every chain gym that you could think about or like franchise. So I worked for Gold's Gym, 24-hour fitness, LA Fitness, some private gyms as well. I was just all over the place. And if you are a fitness instructor, you know that like a lot of the times like you are running yourself around. Like you're teaching one class here, one class there, 5 to 15 classes a week. I don't even remember how many classes I was teaching a week, but it was just Zumba. And if you guys have ever taken Zumba, like Zumba is so freaking like high energy and intense. And especially like, girl, I'm like 22 years old at this time, like 21, 22. So like obviously like my playlist is lit. I'm jumping around. I'm doing the most. Like I'm doing every single move with my students, So like it wasn't something that was like easy on my body. So I was out here like teaching all these classes, like running around, driving from gym to gym for literally like no money. And this podcast episode is not to like talk down on any of these gyms or to discourage you if you are someone who works at a gym or you're looking to work for a gym or anything like that. This is not to discourage you, okay, from working for a gym. I think it's a great side hustle, and I think it's a great starting point if you are looking to expand and do your own thing. Otherwise, like I think it's great if you work at a gym. Like you're getting the same money for every single class. It's steady. You always have the same schedule every week. You can build your following. People are gonna, be loyal to you for the most part. Like that is your slot. Like I remember having a 7 p.m. Monday time slot when I was teaching Zumba, and like that was a highlight of the week. Like that was the most poppin' lit class like I had. Like people literally would like fight for spots. Like the walls would be sweating, the mirrors would be foggy. Like it was a time. And I held that slot for like a couple years. That was my time. So, it's nice when you are able to like get that prime time spot in a gym. I think that it's great. But for me, at some point, like it wasn't great anymore. And obviously, like the pandemic happened. A lot of these gyms like let go of a lot of people. So I did lose like my slots at a lot of these gyms. Obviously, when things started opening up again, like a lot of them reached back out and was like, hey, like, do you want to come teach again? I think I had tried out like one of the gyms or maybe, yeah, like one or two of them. And I was just like, this just feels so different. Have you been wanting to take a heels class for the longest time, but either you don't have heels classes in your area or you've just been too shy to sign up for that class and go for it? Well, I'm super excited to announce that we are officially online. We have heels classes for everyone and anyone, and you can take them any and everywhere. This has been a long time coming. I know so many of you guys have asked if we have online classes, And we are so excited to announce that our classes are now digital. And we have a specific heels fundamentals workshop that you can check out and really get into your heels bag. And the best part about this program is you're not just jumping into a heels class. You're not just jumping into choreography. You will have a full heels fundamentals beginner course where you're able to learn the basics, the fundamentals, how to walk in your heels, your lines, your shapes, how to feel fluid in your body, how to use your core so that you can feel stable and you don't feel like you're wobbling in your heels every single time. And yes, you might wobble the first 1 or 2 classes, and that's completely normal. But the best part about this is that you can work at your own pace. So you can break up your modules, do 1 module a day, you can repeat them. The heels program also comes with core and flexibility training, which is what we need to succeed in heels. We have to have a nice, strong, and solid core. And we also need to work on our flexibility so that we can hit those moves and feel nice and sexy and fluid. So if this sounds like something that you're trying to get into this year and you're ready to step into the baddie that you're meant to be, I invite you guys to go check out our Rhythm and Pumps online heels training program 1.0. Okay, be a founding member, get your price locked in, because honey, we are going to blow up this year. I'm telling y'all, and I'm manifesting this right now. So check it out. $19.99 per month. You guys can cancel it anytime if this isn't your thing, if it's not working out for you, if you're not really into it. Cancel it anytime. No hidden fees, no contracts. Go to our website, www.realrhythmdanceandfitness.com. Head on over to the on demand tab and check out our memberships. And mind you, like at this point, when I was teaching up until 2020 at these gyms, I was still building my business this whole time. So like my business was my side hustle from like 2017 to 2020. Honestly, my side hustle up until last year when I went into business full time. So I was building my business consistently from 2017 to 2023. So that's, what is that, 6 years of me building my business before I decided to go, work for myself full time. During that time, obviously, like I had worked for different gyms. I became a personal trainer. So I was now expanding into different types of training facilities and all that. And while it was great, I think that every single gym and every single job has taught me something. I also noticed that there was definitely a difference in the way that I was treated versus other instructors who were not Black. I felt like for me, it was a struggle sometimes to fill my classes. I'm going to say in particular areas where certain people might live, right? Where there's a certain demographic. So I would say sometimes like I felt like there was like this mistrust. And you can only explain this if you are someone who has dealt with it. All right. So I'm not just saying you have to be Black to realize that there's going to be a difference in sometimes the way that you're treated, or people are going to lack trust in you, right? Because of their own bias or their own beliefs about you or your race. It could also have to do with your sex, right? Me being a female, I think being a Black female makes it a little bit harder as well. But these are things that I would notice. I would notice that my classes would sometimes be less filled than other instructors. And I'm talking about like outside of Zumba as well. So not just Zumba, but these are things that I would notice. I would notice like sometimes people wouldn't take my direction. So when I was teaching classes where I had to coach people through exercises on like equipment and weights, and I had to demo things, like sometimes there were people who like wouldn't even look at me. Like they wouldn't make eye contact with me. Sometimes like they would just downright like not say hi to me coming into my class. And I'm just like, how is this a thing? Like I'm literally helping you get through your workout. I'm making sure that you're having a safe workout. I'm explaining to you what's going down in the class, trying to make sure that you're good, and you're straight up disrespecting me. And I started noticing this not just in one gym, but multiple gyms. Okay. And I also find that just with the fitness industry in general, like I feel like it's very male dominant. And I'm going to say, even though there are some brothers, there's definitely some Black men in the industry who have made a name for themselves and who, make great money and all that and have a great following. Taron Anderson is one of them. He came on my podcast a couple weeks ago and we had an amazing conversation. You should definitely go back and listen to it if you missed it. But to be honest with you, I felt like a lot of the instructors or just like the image, in general of like the fitness industry is very like white male dominated. And I wasn't down to like compete with that. Like I wasn't down to put myself in a situation where I felt like I needed to compete with white men or Hispanic men. Like, I'm sorry. Let's just be real. Like, look at me, and I feel like also just growing into my authentic self, I didn't want to show up in such this masculine energy, having to like yell at people and coach people. And I feel like sometimes that's what people expect, not just from fitness instructors in general, but sometimes like if you are a Black woman, people are going to think that you're a little bit more aggressive or that you're going to be yelling at them or you're going to put them in their place. And it's like, that's not who I am. I'm not Jillian Michaels. I'm not about to be out here yelling at you. Okay. This ain't that. So I started realizing like the last job that I had, that I worked in a corporate gym facility, whatever you want to call it, studio, boutique, whatever you want to call it, fitness studio, I don't know. But I noticed that like I did feel this pressure to come off like in that masculine energy and needing to like really push people and yell at them and take charge and take control of the room. And I'm like, I'm literally out here like empowering women to be in their feminine energy and to be soft and sexy and dance in heels. And like I feel like this is contradicting. I feel like this is not who I really am. So part of me making that decision to leave the last job that I was at and to fully work for myself and come into this place of full-time entrepreneurship, like it came from me wanting to be authentic and have a certain standard for myself and also show up in the way that I wanted to show up as an instructor and as a leader and as a teacher. So yeah, I felt called to share this story with you guys today. And I guess the synopsis or the summary here would be to just listen to your authenticity. Listen to who you are being called to become, because a lot of the times we are tempted or we're being offered certain things, positions, money, networking, relationships, opportunities, all these things, and it doesn't even really align with who we are. So I just want to encourage you today to really think about like, does the job that I have right now, and yes, it could be paying the bills and that's great, right? Sometimes like we just need our bills paid, but if it's going against like who you truly are and you feel like you cannot be yourself, like you cannot show up as yourself, like you're hiding parts of yourself or you're needing to put on this face or this role or this mask to be someone else to please other people, I want you to really think about why that is. So I hope that this conversation was helpful today. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. And if you're loving story time and you want more of it, let me know. Okay, let me know. You guys can also drop listener letters and testimonials now using the link on our Instagram page, Let's Just Be Real Pod. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel on YouTube. Hit that like button, leave us a rating or a review, and we'll see you in another episode. Bye, y'all.